Hey everyone, I'm going to teach you how to get started writing applications for the NEO blockchain using the Neo1 framework. To get started, you're going to need to set up a TypeScript project. We recommend using something like Create React App to get started, which I've already done here. Once you have your project set up, you just need to install Neo1. Using Yarn, you do yarn add Neo1 suite. And while that's installing, I just wanted to show the Neo1 website. It's a great reference, neo1.io. If you're someone who's just getting started with blockchain or Neo development, we recommend taking our courses or tutorial. If you're a more seasoned blockchain developer, then we have some pretty extensive documentation and reference sections where you can learn about all the features Neo1 has to offer. For now, we're actually just going through the early part of our tutorial, getting set up. When we run yarn add Neo1 suite, we're actually installing all of these packages: the CLI, the client, everything you would need for working with and testing smart contracts, as well as a TypeScript plugin which provides inline error checking in your editor while you're writing your smart contracts. So we come back here, we see that we're done. Neo1 has been added to our dependencies. So we're ready to initialize our Neo1 project, and we run yarn Neo1 init. And what that's going to do is it's going to generate some starter files as well as some default configurations for us. Here's our configuration file. You can read about all of the options you have for working with Neo1 in our documentation. For now, maybe just note that we've set our framework to React because we've used Create React App, and we're going to be using TypeScript as our language instead of JavaScript. Neo1's going to look for smart contracts in this folder, neo1/contracts. So let's go there and see what we're given to start. So we have this Hello World smart contract, which is a really simple smart contract. All it does is has one single method, hello. So if you call this method on the blockchain, you provide it a name, and then it returns hello, that name, as the result. It also attaches a notifier to that transaction. So if we want to deploy this smart contract and start working with it and testing it in a local network, we run yarn neo1 build. And then right here, you're going to see a list of steps that it goes through. It's going to start a private network. It's going to load up a bunch of wallets on that network with Neo and Gas to work with. It's going to compile and deploy our smart contract. And it's going to generate code for working with that smart contract in our front end or in our off-chain application. We can see here where that code is generated in this Neo1 folder, and all of this stuff will be useful. This, for example, will have utilities for working with Neo1 with React. This is utilities for the client-side code required to work with the blockchain, and all of this you can read more about in our documentation. For now, I'm just going to show you this types file here. In here, you'll see some things you recognize and some things you don't. You can learn about all the details in our documentation, but just know here's our hello method, and then, for example, here's our deploy method, which is used behind the scenes to deploy our smart contract to the blockchain. So now let's work on adding something to our smart contract. Maybe we want this smart contract, maybe we want to keep track of who we've said hello to, and maybe what their address is on the blockchain. So let's import a couple data members. We'll import map storage, which is persistent blockchain storage, and we'll import the address type, which is the type that Neo addresses are, specific type of buffer. So let's add a property here. We'll call it names, and it's just going to be a storage which maps addresses to strings, which are going to be names. Great. So now every time we say hello to somebody, we want to record what their name is and what their address is. So let's add another parameter to this method, and then every time it's called, we'll run this.names.set address to name. And great, and so now we're recording every time that we say hello to someone and what their address is. Now real quick, I want to show you guys how you can make use of Neo1's inline error checking. If we go here and we make sure we use workspace version of VS Code's TypeScript, And then let's start writing another method. We'll call it getName. So if we encounter an address, maybe we want to know if we've met that person before and what their name is. So to show you what Neo1's inline error checking looks like, we might try and convert an address from some sort of string literal, let's just say ABC, which is not a valid string representation of a Neo address. And so we can see here that Neo1 is actually letting us know that this is not a valid string address. Similarly, if we go up here and we tried to make this a public property, we'd find out very quickly that Neo1 lets us know that persistent blockchain storage can only be private properties, cannot be public. So this way, Neo1 can help you write your smart contract correctly before you even have to worry about compiling and testing it. Alright, so here, if we're given an address, we're going to see if our storage has that address in it. If not, then we've never met this person, and we just want to throw an error. If we have, then we'll just go ahead and return that name. Great, so we've added a little bit to our smart contract. Let's redeploy the smart contract to our private network so that we can test our new methods. Great, so we can go here and we see that the code has been regenerated and that our types are updated. Not only do we have our hello method, but we have our getName method available. Now let's go to our tests. This is just works like a standard unit test, although we do provide some utilities that make it easy for interacting with your smart contract during your test on this private network. We have this with contracts method, which passes in your smart contract, which you can interact with like a normal class. And we're also going to make use of those wallets that have been pre-set up for us with Neo and Gas and addresses. So we're just going to take the first account address, and we're going to say that foo is associated with that address. Now what we really want to test is that information is stored on the blockchain between calls. So let's go ahead and make another call here to getName. Hello world .getName, and we're looking for that same address that we've just added. We'll do a quick check that an error wasn't thrown, and then we're going to expect the result of that call to be foo, because we know that foo is the one that lives at this address based on this. Great. So let's run this test here. We just run yarn test, and we should see that the test passes, and indeed that we know that now on the blockchain the name foo is associated with that address for the smart contract. Great, it passes. The last thing I want to show you guys is that every time you run yarn Neo1 build and deploy your smart contract to a private network, we also spin up an instance of NeoTracker so that you can view and interact with that smart contract from a local instance of a blockchain explorer. So it's at port 9041. Let's go take a look. Here we see our private instance of NeoTracker. It's just got a handful of blocks that have been generated so far and a few invocations. If we look at this one here, oh great, look, this is our Hello World smart contract that we've just published. And we can go there and we can see the details of that contract. And yeah, great. This is everything I wanted to show you guys. So yeah, feel free to refer to the Neo1 website if you want to learn more or if you have any questions. And I hope you have a great time developing applications for the Neo blockchain.